Pats Nation, what's going on? For those of you who do not know and are brand new to this show, this is the CLNS Media Network's New England Patriots Postgame Show.
Yes, sir.
We are your host for this show. I am Mike Molyneaux. Right here, we got Marv, Ezhan. If you don't know about us, you're going to find out real quickly that we bring a lot of fun, excitement to the Patriots postgame coverage. And that all happens with this show right here. Again, welcome in. Patriots just got the win over the Houston Texans, 27-20 at Gillette Stadium. Way to kick off the season. Week 1, Patriots get the W.
Fireworks, Mike. Fireworks. There's a lot to, tackle into this game. A lot of things happen on both sides of the field. But most importantly, like you just said, 27-20. New England comes out on top against the first game. Deshaun Watson's return. Brady's 41 years old, 19th season. How is he going to do, with the depleted roster of weapons with the wide receivers and such? But Patriots came up on top. So let's break it down, man. Let's break it down from the offensive side to begin with, starting with, the head honcho, like we said, Tom Brady.
The GOAT.
The GOAT. 26 for 39, 277 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, got sacked twice later, and then got sacked twice in the second half. We'll talk about that as well. But how did Brady look to you?
Brady, obviously, again, he had that early interception. But for the most part, I didn't see, from my eye test, I didn't see anything different from Tom Brady from last season or the season before. In the Tom Brady we saw today, obviously, interceptions are few, and they don't happen for Brady too often. He threw one today in the first game, but he still finished. Tip pass too. It wasn't really a bad pass that he made. It just got tipped and got caught by Tyrann Mathieu, who got the interception. But 3 touchdown passes, 277 yards. A solid game for Brady. It didn't seem like he fell off the cliff. It's just one game. Again, week 1, one game. Obviously, I thought they were going up against a solid test in the Houston Texans defense. So with that solid test, you still come out, you put up 27 points. Not bad at all from Brady. I think he played very well to start off the year. Nothing from what I saw made it seem like, oh boy, this is a 41-year-old quarterback trying to lead the team. He looked like he's just fine and he's ready to rock and roll for the weeks to come.
Definitely. And what makes this show run in CLNS Media Post Game is you guys comment. Let us know what you felt about the game, the good, bad, and ugly. We want to hear from you guys. But Mike, going back to Brady looked good, like you said. And what I liked is everyone got the ball, man. Everyone touched the ball. But you got Gronkowski, Dorsett, James White. Even your man Devlin had 4 receptions. That's a lot of receptions for Devlin. Hogan touched the ball once. Patterson, Burkhead, Jeremy Hill before he got injured that we need to touch on as well. So Brady spread the ball around. Everyone's talking about, oh, no weapons. This Brady said, what are you guys talking about? Another guy who was a weapon for him, Philip Dorsett, Mike. 7 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown. And he was key in the second quarter when they were about to go into the half. Brady had a minute left, 2 minutes. Brady can break it down, and he was looking for Dorsett every time.
He was cooking on that drive. See what I did there? Cooking, because he took somebody's spot on the team.
Ooh.
But yeah, man, going off of what you just said, Brady to Dorsett looked great. Obviously, if anyone out there who continues to question, Brady and his weapons, if you go off the Patriots' recent history, as long as they've had Tom Brady as quarterback, there's been seasons where Brady has had far worse options at wide receiver, at tight end, at running back, whatever the case may be. His weapons have looked much worse than what they have coming into this 2018 season. Obviously, you're still waiting for Edelman to come back from suspension. But, the weapons that they have are not as bad as people think. I think when everybody's fully healthy, look at the top probably 4 guys of Edelman, Hogan, Dorsett, and Gronk. Gronk in this game, 7 receptions, 123 yards and a touchdown.
Beast.
He missed all the preseason. I think he played a couple snaps in one of the games, but obviously, he wasn't a real major factor in the preseason in those games where Brady played for a quarter or a half or whatever the case may be. And, you know, some people always question, maybe if a player misses the preseason, are they going to be in tune? Are they going to be ready to go when the regular season comes around because they haven't had those opportunities in preseason? There's some players in the league where it doesn't matter if you miss preseason, you're ready to go. You know, soon as the Patriots got the ball on offense to start this game, it looked like Brady and Gronkowski, their connection, hadn't missed a step at all. And I don't think it'll miss a step throughout the course of the season as long as these two guys stay healthy. Brady and Gronkowski continue to be one of the deadliest combinations in all of the NFL.
One GOAT throwing to another GOAT, man.
That's it. That's pretty much it.
It's simple.
Simple mathematics.
It's simple as that. Gronk was a monster out there. He had one slip up where he did fumble the ball, you know, and that's a key point to this whole game, you know. Yes, the score was 27-20, and it seemed like it was a close game, but it really wasn't close, Mike. Patriots dominated in all levels of this game. What kept Houston there were the turnovers. Gronk had to fumble the ball. You had McCarron who fumbled, he muffed a punt. You had Brady who threw the interception. All of those things, eventually Texans were going to capitalize on that, and they did. And it's what kept them close. But throughout the game, Patriots dominated from beginning to end. And I tell you this, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting a great offense with Philip Dorsett producing the way he did, and I wasn't expecting how the defense played as well.
Yeah, very true. I mean, obviously, I feel like there was some worry and concern in the game where would Brady and Gronkowski, you know, be on the same page like I just talked about? Would you know, the defense continue to be strong performing, you know, against opposing teams? Obviously, you're going up against a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, who, for the most part, you know, is a mobile quarterback who continues to put in work and make things happen with his arm and his feet. You know, I think everybody knew Deshaun Watson's very talented, but would he be talented enough to sling the ball as well as he did? I was shocked at his arm strength. Obviously, he displayed a lot, you know, throughout the course of last season when he was playing healthy. But the way I saw that young guy sling the ball up there, he has some arm strength.
Deshaun?
Serious arm strength for sure.
He was sluggish, though, Mike.
He was.
The Patriots, that pass rush was really getting to them throughout the whole game. And that was great to see. Dietrich Wise, he's a guy that got there. You added in a guy like Juwan Bentley. He was in plays. Flores, the defensive coordinator, seems like he's really got something going on. Yeah.
I mean, like I said before, throughout the course of the preseason, obviously Flores isn't the defensive coordinator, but this is the guy who has been, you know, playing solid, you know, I mean, coaching a solid defensive team only throughout the course of the preseason. Obviously, it's been some question marks going in because you want to see how these new guys are going to perform, how this new kind of defensive coach, defensive coordinator is going to pan out. But from what I saw today, getting pressure on a mobile quarterback like Deshaun Watson, who can do work with his legs, it just makes me think when the time comes and Patriots go up against another, you know, pocket kind of quarterback, if they can get imagine the same kind of pressure on Nick Foles in the Super Bowl. Obviously,
it would be a different
story. Different story, 100%. And yeah, man, we got some technical difficulties going on right here. Marvin and I are trying to get, you know, our video stream back up and running. I see you, Clifton, coming in with the comments. Landon Roberts sucks. I'm sorry. That Texans last drive, Roberts was exposed. I like Roberts. Obviously, he's not one of the key, you know, pieces, the major impact players on defense. It's just obviously other guys you expect to perform and show up. Landon Roberts, he's just kind of fitting in right now. He's just one of the guys out there. Hopefully him getting exposed is not something that continues to happen. But, you know, you want him to be able to put in work, just like you want the rest of the defense to put in work. You know, guys like Bentley, I was looking to see more of Claiborne out there, and I think Claiborne had some presence, felt nothing too crazy. He didn't pick up any tackles. He didn't pick up any sacks. But I'm gotta be sure that, you know, so a lot going on right now. But we still got football rolling. But we're gonna get back right into it. Obviously, like I was just saying, Claiborne, you know, he didn't. That's solid right there, Marv. I think we good. I think we're back in action right here.
Sorry about that, guys. You know, sometimes technical difficulties happen.
Week one, you know, we'll be good in moving forward and whatnot. Obviously, let me see. We got this popping right here.
You got my good side?
You got your bad side.
Thank God. All right, we're good.
Yeah, we'll make it pop right there like that. Like I was saying, I'm so sorry. Claiborne, he didn't pick up any stats tonight, but just being a guy out there to help put pressure on Deshaun Watson helped. Another guy, I didn't really hear his name too much, who's coming back from injury, Donta Hightower. He had 2 tackles today. You know, again, Deshaun Watson was only sacked. How many times was Deshaun?
He was sacked 3 times.
3 times, yeah. But the pressure was there.
That's all, which is what I'm
talking about. And it's something that we've said many times as long as Marv and I have been doing the show. Patriots being able to get pressure on the quarterback has been something that we've questioned year after year. It finally looks like they might have something here. We're getting pressure on the quarterback. And hey, I don't want to be the one to say it, but as long as that guy, Matt Patricia, was here, we weren't seeing that kind of play. We weren't. So maybe it took a type of change. Obviously, it's tough for me to argue Matt Patricia having a tough time defensively. They got 2 Super Bowls with the guy,
right,
and another Super Bowl appearance with the guy. So you know, you got to take what you can get, I guess. Obviously, in my opinion, though, the Patriots defense over the years could have been a lot better, you know, to complement Brady in the offense.
So what do Patriots do best, Mike? When you face their team, they try to take out the best weapon, right? Their best weapon in Houston Texans is the DeAndre Hopkins.
Very true.
I think the Patriots played it beautifully. He got his 8 receptions, 78 yards, importantly 0 touchdowns. And when they needed him, when Deshaun Watson needed Hopkins the most, he couldn't deliver it to him. You know, Gilmore broke up some passes. They had an interception. They were double teaming him. They tried to get him in a lot of screens. The screens wouldn't work. DeAndre Hopkins a playmaker. That's one of the best receivers, top 3 receiver in this league right now. But Patriots played him perfectly.
Yeah, I think the coverage on Watson, on Hopkins was tough. And when I say tough, I mean they made it tough for him out there. Again, like Marv said, one of the best receivers in the game, but I think Patriots had a great game plan in trying to take him off his game in a sense. And in the first half, I think a lot of his damage came, what do you have? 8 receptions for 78 yards. I think a lot of that kind of came towards the second half. I mean, in the first half, they kind of bottled him up a good amount, but he was able to start catching some stuff towards second quarter, moving into the second half of the game. But that's what the Patriots got to do. You know, when you go up against teams, I think most teams try to do that. You know, you kind of key in and try to focus on who are the playmakers for the opposing team, offensively and defensively. I think there are probably times that, Patriots probably tried to double team J.J. Watt, for an instance,
right,
to try to make sure he's not, knocking Brady out his cleats.
And J.J. Watt he still did his thing in the second half.
There's a reason why he's one of the greatest defensive players today in the game and maybe possibly in history, because he's able to just disrupt the team and offensive line at will, in a sense. So, yeah, being able to key in and lock in on the playmakers, offensively or defense, I think can really change the game and what a team can do.
All right, Mike. So let's talk injuries here. Patriots did suffer a big one. I think this one is big. You hate to see any guys go down, but Jeremy Hill, he's a guy he beat McGillislee out for a spot here. He was looking. This was like, we didn't know where his career was going to be after he leaves Bengals. He made the team here in New England, and preseason he balled out. This year, this first game, he had a role here. He was in special teams, had a block kick. He started catching the ball a little bit, had a couple of carries, 4 carries for 25 yards. And then, his by his own player goes down with a knee injury,
Mhm.
and he was ruled out. It didn't look good at all, and
He made it off the field under his own power.
He
But
did.
sometimes that doesn't even matter.
So we're hoping for the best for him. He, like you said it, that's our power back.
Sure
That's
is.
that guy's our power. I know they use Burkhead a lot in the running game, but Jeremy Hill, it's good to have all that versatility out there with Jeremy. I love seeing how they used Hill, White, Burkhead. Those three guys. That it was really good to see how they mixed it up with them. And so let's talk about Burkhead. This guy exploded, man. Exploded.
Just similar to what I said about Gronk earlier on about how, a guy may miss all of preseason, not get a chance to do much. But then the regular season rolls around, and this guy looks like he hasn't missed a step. He's just been waiting and ready, salivating
he's
to
a secret weapon. They didn't want to bring him out there.
I don't even think maybe the Texans probably expected him to play as well as he did, because this is a guy who, you hear the injury reports. He's still dealing with it. I think he has like a minor tear or something like that in his knee, and he's playing through the pain, playing through the injury, and he's still out there. 18 carries, 64 yards, and then once he got one reception for 5 yards, but he was targeted 3 times. So Brady has no problem looking at him, possibly down the field as well. Dual threat guys, man. Dual threat guys is what the Patriots like.
And there's one more still waiting in the looms. Hill's injury opens up the door now for Sony Michel.
And if Sony Michel is close, if he's anywhere close to being, honestly, you never want to say an injury is good for a team.
Right.
But obviously, I think, Jeremy Hill kind of, once Galissi was out the picture, Jeremy Hill kind of locked into that power back role. Now you have a guy as Sony Michel coming back, if he's close enough and ready to return for week 2, possibly. He kind of steps in and maybe fills that Jeremy Hill role as a guy who could be a dual threat. We saw Jeremy Hill, he caught a pass for 6 yards. Sony Michel can kind of be that power back guy, kind of step up if Jeremy Hill is unable to go. It remains to be seen, how the injuries play out moving forward, but they got some time to prepare and get healthy. So
Clifton brings up a good point here. The O-line played and controlled most of the Texans' front 7. The offensive line was great. Trent Brown over there playing the left tackle. He did his job, man. He played very, very well. He held his own. Even Cannon and Waddle, they were switching back and forth at the right side of the field, and they played well too. You didn't see too much of Clowney getting in there.
Sure didn't.
Watt, like we said, he's a special player, and at the second half, he started to make a name for himself. But at the end of the day, you can't be mad for what you saw with the line. There was times Brady had all day to throw the ball, and when you give Brady all day, you know what happens. Automatic.
I think Texans have, some of the best, front defensive end players in the league in terms of Watt and Clowney and their athleticism and what they're able to do. So Patriots had a real test today. I was saying it, that last week of the preseason when we kind of did a season preview looking at this game, Patriots were going to have a test. Not only Brady and the offense in general, but that offensive line was definitely going to be tested. And you have to look at this game and say Patriots did a solid job. The offensive line did a solid job. Dante Starnecchia did a great job, in my opinion, in, preparing those guys and having them ready and just being prepared and knowing what to do going against these very strong, tough, athletic guys like Watt and Clowney and the rest of those guys there. Brady only sacked twice. You don't want to see, as a Patriots fan and the Patriots coaching staff, you don't want to see Brady taking any hits. But I think most people can see from this game that he had a pretty clean pocket for a decent amount of the game where he didn't have to worry about too much pressure. And, a lot of credit right there goes to the offensive line and then the guy who's, coaching them up, and that's Dante Starnecchia for sure.
If you were going into this game knowing that Clowney and Marcellus were only going to get 2 tackles, you'd be very happy knowing that, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm telling you, those guys, fearful of those guys and what they could do and the damage they can bring in terms of, interrupting Brady and his mindset and what he's trying to do out there. But, they were held in check for the most part. So you got to be definitely happy with that.
So any surprises during this game, Mike? I mean, Patriots come out on top, 27-20, but was there anything you're like, okay, for week 1, I didn't see this happening. I didn't see this was the route the Patriots were going to go.
Surprise for sure was the fact that Chris Hogan didn't do much of anything. Okay. This is a guy who definitely was probably number one in terms of the wide receiver depth chart coming into this game. No Edelman, obviously he would be number one, but Chris Hogan by default is that next guy up to be, possibly Brady's top target at wide receiver. I did not see Dorsett coming out and playing the way he did. Obviously, I think, he's the number 3 guy in terms of wide receivers on the team. So I thought he would be involved, but I mainly thought this was going to be a Gronk Hogan game, and then Dorsett would maybe get a couple catches here and there, and maybe Patterson. But I did not see the stat lines that you see from Dorsett and Hogan. I would think they'd probably be reversed.
I think I have a theory why.
Please let myself and the viewers know.
Well, you see, with Chris Hogan, what made him explosive when he had Edelman was working in the slot, and then Hogan started to become that deep threat guy that Brady would find, right? When you had Edelman, you had Amendola as well working the slot. Boom. And then last year when Edelman went down, you still had Amendola pretty much working the slot, and then Chris Hogan was still he was in between. He would, manage between slot and manage outside. And he still had decent numbers doing that, being the number 2 or number 3 guy, even if he would still get the most targets. This year, there's not really a slot guy. You have the James White and Burkhead catching behind the back. You have Dorsett. He's filling in the Cook's role pretty much. And you have Hogan, who's still being played in the outside, but he has no one in the middle with them. So the teams are focused more on him, and he doesn't have that separation as he did before. You remember his nickname was always open. He's not always open no more. Those deep balls Brady was throwing to him were really tightly covered.
Oh yeah, he was covered.
And Hogan, as good as he is, he's not a terrific athlete. He's not a spectacular athlete. He's not gonna be a guy who's gonna make the one-hand catch or over the top catches over somebody. So he needs that separation. When he doesn't have it, he struggles.
That's true, man. And I want to believe and say that moving forward, obviously you'll see more of Hogan involved. They like the guy a lot. They kept him around for a reason. Brady likes him. So obviously
he got 5 targets.
Yeah, 5 targets. And obviously I think games coming up, he'll be more involved and he'll have big games similar to what we've seen in the past from Chris Hogan. Another guy who I liked the way the Patriots used was definitely Cordell Patterson. I think Patterson. One thing about Patterson, the reason why, as a wide receiver coming out of college, one of the reasons why he wasn't too effective, on the Vikings and whatnot, probably not a good route runner and stuff like that. It just wasn't ever clicking for him. But I think with the Patriots, they found a way to use him. I think, Romo, alluded to this a lot, where the Patriots
too much.
Patriots just want to do one thing with Cordell Patterson: get him the ball and let him make plays happen.
Right.
Obviously when he's doing kick returns, punt returns, that's pretty much what happens. He catches the ball and it's up to him to make moves, find separation, juke, spin, whatever the case may be, and pick up yards. So I think the Patriots, in terms of getting him the ball, whenever you saw Brady pass him the ball, I think he was targeted. He was only targeted one time, but
for the reception. But most of the stuff were running. Yeah, running plays.
And it's pretty much put the ball in his hands, show him the field, and let him work instead of him trying to line up, run this perfect route. Because Brady is a surgeon out there. He wants you to do these specific things to get yourself open. Don't give Patterson all that work and probably mess with his mindset a little too much. Just give him the ball and let him go. And I think it's going to be successful for himself and the Patriots and what they want out of him.
Right. A surprise for me was no tight ends other than Gronk. They didn't even, what's his name? Hollister didn't even make he was a healthy scratch in this game. So they used Devlin. They used the fullback as their extra guy, and Devlin produced. Devlin's a guy, once he gets the ball, he's not going to get you any yaks.
Yeah.
But he'll make the reception. And Brady found him a couple times when needed. 4 receptions, 22 yards. So I liked how they used Devlin. That was a big surprise, not having another tight end out there.
Yeah, Devlin's underrated sometimes. I think people don't talk about what he does a lot. And a game like this, magnifies an area where, hey, Brady trusts this guy to go out there and catch passes. Yep. Brady wouldn't, throw passes to you as often as he did with Devlin without trust in him. And Brady trusts him, but at the same time, this guy's a solid blocker. He's solid at what he does. There's a reason why he's been around this team for as long as he has. It's because he's solid in his role, but at the same time, if Brady just needs that guy to leak out and catch a pass for 2 or 3 yards, Devlin can be that guy. And it adds another weapon to Brady. Obviously, he's not going downfield for 10, 15, 20 yards, but if he catches it, he'll catch it, and then whatever he gets after that is just a bonus. So I think Patriots are definitely happy at what James Devlin brings to the table for sure.
All right, any last thoughts on this game specifically?
I think Patriots played well defensively in terms of bottling up, in a sense, a mobile quarterback like I talked about before, and I just can't wait to see how this kind of new and improved new look defense and being able to pass rush, how it fares against a pocket quarterback who likes to sit back, take his time, and dissect the defense. Now Patriots are collapsing on the pocket and making the quarterback think more. 17 to 34, that's not too good. So I'm excited to see, just based off of this game, what Patriots can do against quarterbacks. I don't want to see games like last year where you had some dummies out there for other teams throwing for 300 yards and whatnot. A game like today, good sign of things to come. Hopefully they continue with that trend for sure.
So moving forward, I think we both agree that these first couple of games are going to be a big test for the Patriots. You got Houston, then you go into Jacksonville, and then the third game you face Patricia, who knows your offense, who's been there for what? 10 years?
Too many years.
He's been there forever. So he knows these players, he knows the offense. So I think the first 3 games, it's no easy cooking.
No.
So looking into Jacksonville now, you're going to Jacksonville. No Leonard Fournette so far. So far, he was out for, I think it was a hamstring injury against the Giants. They beat the New York Giants 20-15. Blake Bortles had a Blake Bortles game. 18 for 33, 176 yards, touchdown, interceptions. Similar to a Deshaun Watson game, pretty much. Identical. Any encouraging signs? Well, I'll say there's encouraging signs from what you saw this defense do to a Texans defense a Texans offense that I think is a lot better than a Jacksonville Jaguars offense. And now when Jacksonville Jaguar loses one of their guys in Fournette, we'll keep an eye on what happens there. Things get changed up a little bit. You're gonna see a lot more TJ Yeldon. You're gonna see a little bit of Corey Grant, who killed us last year in the playoffs as well. Man. So what do you see Jacksonville doing any different than last year in the playoffs this year?
I don't see anything real differently coming out of Jacksonville. Obviously, personally, they're probably hyped up for this game. This is a game that they probably had circled on the calendar because it's the team and the Patriots that they lost to in the AFC Championship. And if anything, I think the Patriots, as usually the Patriots do, but especially going into this game against a team that, they were right there, against the Patriots, the AFC Championship game. Brady, offensively, defensively, they need to go right at Jacksonville and try to, give them the haymaker to the mouth. In terms of, obviously, Patriots don't have an Odell Beckham on their team, but he cooked Jalen Ramsey today. I think he had 11 receptions for over 100 yards and a touchdown reception. They don't have that type of playmaker, but I think Patriots need to show zero fear. And, obviously, Patriots go into every game like this. They don't really show fear in opposing teams, but Jacksonville is possibly one of the best defenses in the league. That most people are talking about, up-and-coming defense that will be around for the next couple of years. I feel like Patriots need to waste no time going into Jacksonville and, dominating that team. Waste no time laying down a law and letting Jacksonville. It's too early, very early, but it's a statement game, in my opinion, where you can go in. Jacksonville's probably, by default, the second best team in the AFC right now, just because of how far they made it last season. Go into Jacksonville, dominate. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people, including myself and probably you. Jacksonville doesn't scare you. They're not a scary team.
Not at all.
So if you go into Jacksonville next week and you completely dominate them on their home field, you're making a huge statement in terms of this is what you think is the second best team that can maybe challenge the Patriots. Blake Bortles is not going to scare anybody. If they don't have Fournette, that's huge. Their wide receivers are probably worse than last year. The defense, okay, whatever. Patriots still have Tom Brady. So, like, go into Jacksonville and make a statement. I'm looking at more than 30 points.
Wow.
From the Patriots in week 2 against Jacksonville.
That's a bold statement. So,
somebody got to make it.
A couple questions rolling in. Where you kind of touched on it a little bit here. Your keys to beating the Jag next week. One thing for sure, I think Gronk is going to have a crazy year. I think he's going to have a ridiculous year because he has no choice but to have a ridiculous year with this team.
It's possible.
But Jaguars are going to limit Gronk. You're going to see a lot of Ramsey on Gronkowski, which takes away their best. When you have to take your best corner to cover a tight end, that's going to open the field up for your other guys. I think this is going to be a week where your receivers are really going to need to step up. This is a week where Chris Hogan is going to need to have more than one catch for 11 yards, or you might not win the game. I think Chris Hogan, Dorsett are going to be huge. The receivers in general are going to need to make a lot of big plays here. It's crazy to think that Dorsett all of a sudden starts to become a key, but he showed he could do it.
He sure did.
I think Brady got his trust. I think it's going to be the receivers, not Gronk, not the running backs, but the receiver. Brady connecting with those receivers are going to be huge going into next week. And I think Clifton brought up another thing is turnovers. Yeah, you can't have turnovers against this team. As sorry as Blake Bortles is, a team's still going to get opportunities to score. And that Jacksonville defense scores itself. They could take a pick six or fumble to the house. That's a very quick defense. So offensive line, if they can, produce, it would be even better than they were this week going into next week. And the receivers stepping up. I think it's going to be a big game for Chris Hogan.
We shall see. I hope it's a big game for Chris Hogan. Me personally, you know what time of the year is? That's fantasy football time. So, hey, Chris Hogan, if you want to have a big game, be my guest.
This guy's in like 6 teams. He has every single player on every team, so it doesn't even matter.
It's a point year for fantasy. D. Murphy just came in, and I think he asked, what did he ask? Is Flores more aggressive than Patricia? Yes.
Absolutely.
Without even a question, I feel like Flores, even if it's just week 1, even if we just had a couple preseason games, you see something different from the defense in terms of the type of pressure they're putting on quarterbacks, something we just talked about. So that's definitely true. Anything else you want to add? Looking forward to this game before we move on to the stars and sorries from this week 1 matchup.
I think Patriots take it. I'm not going to say they get 30 points. I think it's a 24-10 New England Patriots statement game, like you mentioned, at Jacksonville. I just can't see how, especially if Fournette's not playing, I don't see how their offense moves the ball against this defense at the moment. I just don't see it. Keenan Cole, they have some receivers out there, but a guy we didn't talk about much, I'm blanking right now, Gilmore. Gilmore had a great game.
Sure did.
Gilmore really had a great game. And if he can continue that, McCourty had a good game. We didn't see much of his brother.
Won't even talk about it.
But, Jason McCourty, the one we know, had a good game. So, yeah, I'm confident. 24-10. Book it.
All right. We'll be seeing that next week. But for right now, we're going to get to the stars and sorries of the game. For those of you who don't know about the stars or sorries here on this show, Marv and I like to give us some awards. Some of them are good. Some of them are bad. But someone's going to get them either way.
Oh, so what does it mean to be a star?
You are a star of the Patriots Postgame Show. You had an unbelievable performance. You put up amazing stats. You made a great play, something along those lines that really stood out from the matchup that you had. You will find yourself being a star of the game. But if you're a sorry, you don't want to be a sorry. Maybe you had a mistake. Maybe you had a blunder. Maybe you had made a couple errors. If you're a sorry of the game, we'll right here, us two, we'll let you know for sure who that sorry player is. And
make sure y'all let us know, y'all stars and stars. We'll definitely shout you guys out and let the world know what you guys are saying as well.
Let's look at some of the stars that are coming in, though. I'm seeing some. Shout out to Clifton, who said his 3 stars of the game goes to Dorsett, number 1, number 2, Gronk, and number 3, the Pats defense. I can't argue with those at all.
Decent.
You know, those stars, you know, non-debatable in my opinion. I think those two players and then the defense played very well in today's game. What else we have here? Ryan Allen. He had a key punt.
That punt was huge, man. That you don't get too excited for punts, but that punt got me off my seat a little bit. Like, oh, that's major. That's major, baby.
All right. Yeah, if I had to get into my stars of the game, I'm definitely going to go Dorsett for sure. I think Dorsett showed me a lot. You know, obviously in the preseason, he played a little bit with Brady. But, you know, for the most part, he was out there a lot with Hoyer and a little bit with that guy who's probably on the practice squad right now, Etlin. But Dorsett showed me a lot in terms of a guy who, as the season progresses and you get Edelman back, this is a guy who slips into the number three on the depth chart. And from what you saw today, Brady can depend on him. So I got to definitely give a star to Dorsett. Another star that I will give out.
2 stars, Mike. You're feeling generous, man. You're feeling generous.
I will give another star to Burkhead.
Wow.
Burkhead, obviously, like I said, he missed all of preseason. You heard about an injury, missing practices and whatnot. But he came out in this game like he didn't miss a step. Burkhead is going to be a huge part of this offense, which is why the Patriots have kept him around. And one last star, obviously, I'll agree with our guy Clifton, Rob Gronkowski. Just like Burkhead, didn't miss a step.
Beast.
7 receptions, 123 yards, touchdown, Brady to Gronk. You know, like Marv said earlier in the show, GOAT to GOAT. 3 stars right there. Marv, you have anybody want to shout out?
Yeah, I was gonna give it to Gronk too, but you know the fumble. You can't. You gotta be better than that to get the star. You gotta be better than that. But Gilmore. Like I mentioned earlier, I loved how Gilmore played. Last week I was here and I was telling you guys, I think the reason why Texas might have an edge over the Patriots is the Hopkins-Gilmore matchup. I got to give credit where credit is due. Gilmore really stepped up, had a great game, stole an interception from Eric Rowe. But, hey, man, Gilmore balled out. And Burkhead is another one I'll give honorable mentions to, but I gotta give a bonus star, Mike. I gotta give a bonus star.
To who?
Joey Bad and Bougie, baby. Wow. Joey Bad and Bougie, my guy.
Team, huh?
My guy, Joey Bad and Bougie. He came through. And obviously he was against us.
The one time he was probably on the field.
The one time he came on the field, he got the fumble recovery. That's my boy, man. I miss Joey Bad and Bougie. I wish him all the best and luck out there in Houston, but I had to do it, Mike. I had to give it to Joey Bad.
All right, cool. But those are some stars that we have. But like I said, when there's the good,
there's the bad.
And when you're bad on this show, we tell you
sorry.
So, some stories coming in already. D. Murphy said, Pat's kickoff. Sorry.
I see where he's coming. I see where he's coming from. I see where he's coming. They didn't let up huge runs, but lately, even in the preseason, some of those kickoffs, you get a little nervous watching them. So I see where you're coming from.
I definitely agree with this one. And Riley McCarron. One job, McCarron. One job. Why does it always seem like the Patriots punt returners, you know, McCarron, the season before that, Cyrus Jones, something's always funny there. So it's like they can't get the job done. What they doing in practice?
Catching. In the game, the bright lights. It's just McCarron. And the thing with McCarron that sucks is he knows that's his one job.
One job.
You're not out there getting 5 targets.
Sure ain't.
Just catch the ball. We're not even asking you to run. Just catch it. And it bounced off his face mask like a dummy.
That was bad. So, yeah, I'll agree with that. Sorry there for sure. Hightower, I don't know if I'll give him a sorry. You know, sometimes when players have their first game back, you know, they look like they haven't missed a step, or they look like, okay, they need to get back in their rhythm a little bit more. And I think
I won't give him a sorry. That's the quarterback of the defense. Defense played well. He was on the fumble recovery as well. So I won't give it to Hightower. But he wasn't, you know, dynamic. He wasn't a guy that you heard his name a lot today in the game. He'll definitely improve and get better. Like, this defense is just week one. Just week one.
Another sorry. I don't want to really give this sorry, but I think I got to. And we talked about him earlier in the show. Chris Hogan, man, again,
Jeez.
like I said, this is a guy who probably number one on the depth chart coming into the game. Obviously, Marv broke it down as possible reasons why he wasn't too heavily involved and whatnot. But still, 5 targets. 5 targets. You only got 1 reception. Is it all his fault? No. I think sometimes Brady threw to him in double coverage, deep passes, maybe overthrown, bad pass, whatever the case may be. Not all Hogan's fault. But still, I was expecting Hogan to do a lot more. He didn't do as much as I thought. I'll give Hogan sorry. I don't want to say it, but
okay. Mike, you only give sorries to the Pats players. You know they played the Texans, right? You know they lost.
Oh yeah.
You didn't want to give a sorry to none of them?
You want me to?
I got it from here.
Go ahead.
We're gonna give Deshaun Watson a big fat old sorry. He didn't have a good game, man. Patriots defense came out and said all that issue did last year. Yeah, cool. That's not happening this year. Brian Flores, he deserves a star as well. I forgot to mention. Brian Flores switched things up a little bit, started bringing that heat to Deshaun Watson. He was running around, but he couldn't convert. 17 for 34, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The phenom, the future. He's a great quarterback. Like Mike, you said, he's got a zinger, bro. That dude can throw. But tonight's not the night when you face the New England Patriots. So Deshaun Watson. What's the coach name? Bill O'Brien.
Hey, Vrabel over there too?
Nah, Vrabel's a coach now. He's
Tennessee.
Coach.
I'm so sorry. Yes.
Bill O'Brien, man. I know he hasn't beat us once yet. He's waiting. He's waiting. You go over there, you know what we're about to do, and we still dump it on you. Deshaun Watson, Bill O'Brien, I give you guys a big fat old
sorry. Yeah. It is what it is. Got some stars, you got some starries. We'll see who performs and who falters under the pressure next week. But with that being said, man, again, Patriots next week, next Sunday, week 2, taking on the Jaguars in Jacksonville.
I'm excited for that.
4:25 start time. I think everybody will be locked in to see this rematch of the AFC Championship game from last season. Any final thoughts, Marv, before we get up out of here, my guy?
Defense. I think that should be the talk of the week. They really clamped down on the Texans. No 300-yard game on the air like last year, how it started. So, I'm optimistic. I'm more optimistic going into week 2 than I was going into week 1.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Again, for those of you who don't know, we are the post-game show guys. Marv, Mike, this is what we do after every game. Make sure you follow us. We're on Twitter. I am at CLNS _ MikeNice.
I'm at CLNS _ Marv.
Follow us. Talk football with us. The show right here, spread the word. We hold it down, like I said, each and every week after the game. Spread the word. Post-game show with CLNS Media Network is the place to be with all the Patriots coverage. Shout out to all the other Patriots coverage happening on CLNS Media Network. We got you covered here at the stadium. So much going on. Keep it locked with CLNS Media for sure. But Marvin is on. I'm Mike Molyneaux. We will see you guys next week right after the game.
Thank you for watching.